Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Nutter, and I'm the director of San Francisco's Department of the Environment. We are here today with our partners at Recology to make an announcement about San Francisco's accomplishments in recycling that can only be called historic. San Francisco is a city that knows how to recycle. Over the years, our city has been a nationwide leader in recycling, and Mayor Newsom has made it a priority to develop new recycling and composting programs, set aggressive goals, and keep us on track. So without further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Gavin Newsom, who has some rather spectacular news.
Good. Thanks, Melanie. I think this is the completion of your first week on the job. And of course, as many of you know, Melanie was with Speaker Pelosi's office doing similar work and providing a framework so that we could be successful in San Francisco and be put in a position to make a lot of the announcements that we have been making over the last number of years and the announcement we're making today. I happen to think this is a big deal. And I think that other cities across the country that struggled to deal with the issue of their diversion rates with landfills that are literally filling up, that are becoming floating regattas of landfills that are being pushed up and down rivers and across the coast and around the continent, that this represents an important milestone, that cities can think differently and act differently and do something substantially differently as it relates to their waste. What we know, we don't think, is that there is mass urbanization happening on this planet. 1 million to 1.5 million people every single week are moving into urban cores, and they're consuming roughly 80% of the Earth's natural resources in these urban centers. What do you do with that consumption? What do you do with that waste? What do you do with the construction debris that's associated with accommodating for that mass urbanization as it relates to the majority now of the planet living in these urban cores? In San Francisco, we've answered these questions to a degree that no other American city has answered. We've answered this question in a way that not only protects our environmental framework and footprint, but advances an economic framework and paradigm that creates wealth, creates opportunities, creates jobs as we reduce our diversion rates and our greenhouse gas emissions concurrently. This is a big announcement. It wasn't that long ago that I got into local government that we were at 35% diversion. 35% of our waste was being diverted from the landfill. It was pretty good at the time. And I'm not 90 years old. This wasn't that long ago. And we set these audacious targets of 50% waste diversion. And people said, ha ha, there they go once again, San Francisco. Another extreme initiative out of the mainstream. This can't be done. This is going to destroy the economic fabric of the city. This is burdensome. Big government coming in and determining how someone should act, how someone should operate. And we hit that goal. And people said, my gosh, this is amazing. And other cities said, my gosh, that is amazing. How did you do that? And they came out here and we started to see the first groups of folks coming on tour, not to see Coit Tower, not to see the Golden Gate Bridge, not to jump on a cable car, or even to go down to the birthplace of the biotech industry at UCSF. They started coming down to the recycling facility. Foreign leaders coming on tour to the recycling facility saying, how do you guys do it? We had experts from government, from business. We saw folks in academia saying San Francisco's doing something right. And so we reached that milestone of 50%. And we said, well, that's not a stretch goal. That was a good and impressive first start, but let's raise that bar. And what we did a number of years ago, in fact, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 7 years ago, we set forth our new, more audacious goals. And that goal was to reach 75% diversion by 2010. And then eventually to get to zero waste by 2020. And that's when people said, no, that was cute, that was fun. These guys now have kind of lost it because they don't understand. I remember listening to all these experts. They said, they just don't understand how this works. The first 50%, the first 60%, that's the easy stuff. It's once you get past 60%, 65%, then every percent increase in your diversion rate comes at a huge cost. It's too difficult to do. But we thought we could put it together, and one of the ideas was to actually create a construction and debris ordinance, which we passed in 2006. This was landmark legislation, where we said if you're going to develop or get in the construction business, or you're going to remodel, or you're going to deconstruct and demolish, that you've got to get what? Roughly 60%, 65% of that debris diverted. And that helped. The construction and business industry wasn't necessarily opposed. They saw some benefit in that. They got to dispose of this one way or another. It requires some on-site disposals and strategies that, at the time took a little bit of different kind of thinking, but eventually people got it right. We exempted the very small folks you see behind me that are just in the pickup trucks, so they didn't have to worry about their backyard and their little kitchen. But for the bigger projects, we did this. And all of a sudden, our numbers started to creep up over 70%. People said, my gosh, San Francisco's hit 70%. No city in America has ever come close to that. There are cities just down the road that haven't even reached 50%. Big cities can never even imagine 50, 55%. And here we were at 70%. I remember being mayor and out here a number of years back, and we were proud of 70%. And then I remember Jared Bloomfeld said, no, but it's going to be very difficult to reach these 75%. Because again, that increment's tough. Until last year, when we came out and we were out here and we had the hard hats on, I already wear mine, and we came out and we said, no, because not only that construction and building debris ordinance, but because of this new idea on composting, which we realized was a big component of the remaining waste that's here that wasn't being diverted, that if we can raise the bar beyond that first ordinance with this next ordinance, that we can reach that goal. And we announced that we were close. We were at 72%. And this again was historic, and people were mesmerized, and no one more than us that we can reach that goal because of the incredible work of the folks you see behind me and the imagination of ecology. And that composting happened. First city in American history to require composting. You had thought the sky had fallen in. That's the end of economic growth environment. San Francisco's off the deep end. They've lost it. We knew it was coming. We didn't know why it didn't happen before with the ban on plastic bags. My gosh, no one could shop again, and would shut the economy down. Water bottles. But now the composting, you've gone too far. You mean, sir, you're telling me that you will require me to take eggshells and I've got to put them where? In the green, the black, the blue, the green. That's too much. San Franciscans can never figure this out. You're going too far. And some actually went down to my private garbage. There was a person that reporters sent out and had a photograph taken after we passed the ordinance of my garbage. They opened the lids, came down and visited me at home and said, gotcha. See, the mayor doesn't even know how to do this. There's a top of a water bottle that's in the green bin, not the blue bin. See? This is outrageous. The garbage police are next because they're going to fine you. And this is a way of generating money. Of course, what we were ultimately generating was hysteria. And now we're here to celebrate what we've really generated is jobs. Because the folks you see behind me are green collar examples. These are the folks that because of these proposals, because of these new ideas, have work and have the dignity that comes with a paycheck. 118 jobs have been created in the last couple years since we instituted some of these new proposals. Recology has over 1,000 folks disproportionately in the recycling business now. It's why they changed their name to Recology, sort of the notion of recovery, as opposed to the old scavenger framework. It was all about just hauling and then just dumping. Now it's about hauling and diverting. And the jobs that are part of this are the jobs of the new economy. And that's what we're celebrating. Now 77% of our waste being diverted. Highest in the United States of America. Shattering our own hope and expectation of reaching that 75% milestone, and now giving us so much momentum and enthusiasm that that 2020 goal of zero waste, no diversion, talk about a truly 21st century city, is right in front of us. We're proving this can be done. And that's a pretty exciting thing. And so let me end as I began, enthusiastically. I don't think this is a big deal. I know this is a big deal. The more I travel, not just this state, but this country, and for that matter, I see folks from around the world, they're dumbfounded by what this city has accomplished. And you want to know how cities really operate? The stuff you don't want to understand is the stuff that goes on and goes down here. I mean, this is about wastewater. This is what cities, this is the stuff that lies beneath the surface. And at the end of the day, it's the stuff that really matters, because everything else is possible because of the work these guys are doing behind me and doing in this building and Pier 96. And yes, they're back at work at Pier 96 today. So jobs, the new economy, these mandates that are brought people together, not divided people. No, there weren't 3,000 fines. No, garbage police are not out there. No, the business community didn't run, disappeared. Quite the contrary. And what we've done is we've raised the bar for others. We've given people the sense that this can be done in other cities. And one final point. Why should you care about this outside of San Francisco? Particularly if you're living in some rural and suburban communities, you should care deeply about this. Because again, it's those urban centers that are consuming the vast majority of resources and then disposing them in your backyard, in a landfill near you. So unless we come up with creative ideas, we're going to be dumping all of our waste. These cities will be dumping their waste down the road from your playground, down the road from your park. So this is something that all Californians, all Americans should be gravitating towards and enthusiastic about. The new paradigm of being able to deal with a very tangible thing that needs to be dealt with in urban America in a way that creates jobs, creates wealth, and promotes the ultimate frame of environmental sensibility and environmental responsibility, reducing methane gas emissions, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and reducing the need to purchase and develop larger, more burdensome, more toxic landfills throughout the region, state, and the country, including on those movable barges you see in other cities that just don't get this. So I'm proud of this. I want to thank the team, San Giacomo, as rest of the folks at Recology for their leadership and stewardship, for the great work of the Department of Environment, the good work that was done by our commission, and the partnerships that we formed. This is a true public-private partnership, and thankful for all the hard-working men and women at Recology. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Newsom, and thank you for helping us achieve our 77% landfill diversion rate. Now that we've hit this milestone, we need to focus our attention on achieving zero waste by 2020, as Mayor Newsom said. To meet our zero waste goal, we'll need the continued participation of all San Franciscans in the mandatory recycling and composting program, making sure that everything possible goes into the blue and green bins and as little as possible goes into the black bins. As Mayor Newsom pointed out, we sent the smallest amount of material to landfill since we've been keeping record, less than 15% than the year before. We are right on track, and if we keep up this pace, we could achieve zero waste in San Francisco well before 2020. Zero waste also means ensuring that manufacturers make products with less waste and products that are reusable and ultimately recyclable and compostable. We already accomplished this locally to a degree with bans on hard-to-recycle products like plastic bags and thermometers. There are actions we can take locally, but change also does need to happen at the state and federal level. And that's why San Francisco has been supporting extended producer responsibility legislation in Sacramento and in Washington. Taxpayers and local governments shell out millions of dollars every year to handle problem products. It's time that we require that manufacturers take responsibility for their own actions and their products. When we hold corporations responsible for making sure the products they sell get recycled properly, and when public health and environmental costs are factored into that product price, manufacturers have a strong incentive to design goods that last longer, are easily recyclable, and ultimately are less toxic. We need to give a lot of credit to our partners at Recology for the city's recycling success. In San Francisco, we don't have a garbage company, we have a recycling company. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Mike Sangiacomo, Recology's CEO and San Francisco's #1 ally in zero waste. Mike.
Thanks, Melanie, and Mr. Mayor, thank you for coming down today to use our facility as a site of this really exciting announcement. We are just pleased to be able to be the city's partner in helping achieve the goals that the city sets forth. Some of them have been rather exciting to try and accomplish, but it's been fun, and we're going to assure that this city is the first to achieve zero waste, and we're going to do it before 2020. And there are a lot of exciting things going on here, and we believe that it's doable, and we're committed to make sure that it happens. In the process, it's been very pleasing for us to be able to put people to work doing a very necessary function. You see a lot of them here. I'd like to, Mimi, why don't you come up here? Want to introduce Mimi Chan, who came to us through the Jobs Now program and has been able to get to work doing something that we didn't have the money to do before the program gave us the funds to put someone to work doing something that's very valuable for us as well. And, Mimi, you want to say something about what you're doing?
You know, I love this company.
The microphone.
Oh, sorry. I love this company. When I first started with this company, I was really excited because I'm working for a green company. When I leave work, it's not just about work. I bring my work home, actually. I teach my kids about recycling, composting. And then, you know, when I go to another city, another state, it angers me because people throw everything in the garbage. And I tell them, you can't do that. You know, we actually have, composting, and they think I'm crazy. But then when my 6-year-old steps in and says, no, you have to recycle and compost, then they're like, oh, wow, she's serious. So, I love my job. I think working for a green company is good. We all have kids. I have kids. And it's just securing a future for my kids, my grandkids, and everybody down the line. Yeah, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Mimi. And we do have about 3,000 to 5,000 kids come through here a year, and they're the ones that go home and teach their parents how to do it right. And as all these families from San Francisco are visiting other communities, it's amazing how many other places now want to achieve what we're doing here. And we think we're all in a position to help them accomplish that. So, Nolly?
No, just interesting anecdote. You'll appreciate. I don't know. No, you probably won't appreciate it, but I'll throw it out anyway. We diverted about 1.8 million tons of waste, which is roughly twice the tonnage of the Golden Gate Bridge. We only put about 600,000 tons into the landfills, which again, put it in perspective. 400,000. It just got 200,000 tons less just in a second. See how quickly we're moving to reach our goals? But one,
keep up with it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's just it's an extraordinary thing. Now, what's equally extraordinary, and this is to Melanie's point, is the need to continue to promote these programs, because we still have roughly 2/3 of what is here and still goes to landfill that can be recycled. So we still have all this low-hanging fruit, literally fruit, that could be easily composted, that is still being put to landfill because we're not separating all of it. So we've seen a 45% increase in composting since we initiated the compost law, without again being punitive, without being aggressive, just educating folks, phasing this in, being thoughtful about it, encouraging people along. But again, we're still within the margin of where we could be if everyone again steps up to the plate. Final point, it is the kids that are leading this charge. It is absolutely amazing. You go to the public schools and you see these little kids. City, as you know, we fund salad bars in the schools, and you see the little kids with broccoli, and they may not have finished all their broccoli, but at least they weren't eating pizza or burritos. And then they put that little broccoli and they'll run over and they put it in a little composting thing. And then they find out that compost goes and creates something called soil And that soil, that dirt, they actually take some of that dirt that doesn't go up to Napa Valley and all those fancy wineries that look at this as liquid gold, or what is it? Not liquid gold. What do you guys call it? Black gold, like that. And you give a little back to the schools, and then the schools take that black gold and then they put it in their little garden outside, and then they actually learn a little bit about sustainability and seasons, and there are no shortcuts in life, and the important lessons that a lot of us have forgotten in this sort of financial crisis of shortcuts and all these things. And these are important life lessons. And so it's all part of the Edible Schoolyard initiative and the new educational component that really connects these dots in a meaningful way. And kids, again, are leading the charge. So that was my added anecdote. Exactly. Whatever. All right. Come on back.
So thank you everyone for coming. Did want to thank Mayor Newsom for your leadership, Recology, and also just wanted to thank all the great staff at San Francisco Department of the Environment, Robert Haley, Kevin Drew, Jack Macy, and the entire Zero Waste team. Thank you for all your work. We're now going to take a tour of the facility. Thank you.
All right.
That means you guys have to go back and work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah, right. Little Rolex watch.
Mm-hmm.